Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm dying. It's so hot. Hello, everybody. Spooky Sandwoman here. Thank you for checking out episode, oh god, for like 30 or 31. You know what? I'm just gonna stop with the episode numbers because I'm pretty sure I'm not keeping track anymore. Anyway, last episode, Damien is showing us a vision of what the boys were like in their demon forms back in the Abyssal Plains. Let's go back.
We can ask him.
Who's him?
Oh, he'd definitely help us.
I'm not so sure about...
Reistra, aren't you tired of pleasing Father all of the time?
I am, but...
If you stay, you'll be married off and become ruler.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.
What he's saying is, get your head out of your ass and let's go. If you don't say yes, I'll drag your princely ass with us. I don't care what that bastard of a father wants.
Come on, Raistero.
All right, let's do this. What's the plan?
I couldn't believe what was happening. I was seeing the history of their lives before my eyes. They were nobles, and James was the heir to the kingdom, and the commander ruled. Even more so, he was going to be married to Diana. They sacrificed everything to leave and be together. They'd rather be free than remain in their noble roles. I started to feel a little bit jealous. They were able to leave while I was still expected to be what my father wanted me to be. How they were able to leave was uncertain still, but I knew I would learn in time. I closed my eyes and mentally asked Damien to end the vision. As soon as I asked, the world around me slowly vanished, and I was brought back to the bedroom where I sat with my head nestled in Damien's hands. My vision began to clear, letting me fully see the boys around me, all with concerned faces.
So, you now know exactly who we are.
Diana is the girl you were arranged to marry.
Not anymore. Once we left, the arrangement was broken. With no sons to marry off, her dad couldn't go through with the marriage deal.
If Diana is here for us, that means she's trying to save her kingdom from being attacked.
That's not true. She wants to rule our kingdom. Having one of us will give her the right to our kingdom, as much as we'd have right over hers.
So she's a gold digger.
Well, with a kingdom like ours, what succubus wouldn't want to marry us for it?
It all made sense. She wanted them so that she could finally take over an opposing kingdom. She knew that, despite her powers, she wouldn't be able to fight against their father, so she had to find another way in. That manipulative? Before I could continue, I felt my head suddenly get heavy and dizzy. I gripped my head, mewling under my breath. What the...
I took too much. I'm so sorry.
Rest now. There's no need to do anything more today.
The boy suddenly rushed over and helped me lay back down as my vision was painted in white polka dots. I needed sleep badly. Instantly, I closed my eyes and let darkness consume me. Ginger ale. After what seemed like hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan for the day. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groan escape my lips. In response, something beside my bed, shuffled, causing me to look over. I didn't know what I was expecting. Yeah, you did. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Matthew, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. How do you feel?
I feel better. Matthew nodded before he looked down at the bed, taking my hands into his.
I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry.
Matthew, it's not your fault.
No, please listen. I know that Diana and Malix have come after you because of us, so it's our fault that you're constantly in danger. If I hadn't convinced everyone to come to the human world, we would have never been attacked by Malix and hunted down and brought you in danger and...
I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. Matthew, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Matthew's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind for this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. However, I grew curious. So, Matthew, you're a noble. Matthew looked at me and gave me a goofy smile.
I was once, but even if I had the title, I didn't really feel like a noble.
How come?
Well, I was the fourth noble son of the Demon Lord. With Eric and Sam ahead of me in case James couldn't fulfill his duties, there was no way I was getting the throne. So, I spent the majority of my time trying to make my mother happy. She was always unhappy.
Unhappy? How come?
Well, my dad was well, he married 4 different women. Each of us came from a different mother, and my mother was the last to be married and bear a son. The thing with succubi, though, is that they get jealous very easily.
So what happened?
The other wives got mad and scorned each other. It wasn't violent, but we never ate together for a reason. My mom, though, was too proud to have jealousy. She was the last woman the Demon Lord married, so she felt important. She felt that because he stopped marrying, she had the charm to stop his marrying spree.
Matthew let out a small laugh, a hint of depression lingering in the breath he let out.
But then the Demon Lord took another woman and she bore him a son outside of wedlock. Damien. The wives, including my mother, were furious. In response, the Demon Lord had a spell cast on them, turning them into spiritual orbs.
What? That's horrible! Matthew nodded, pressing his lips together in both agreement and sadness.
They could never have physical form, and they lost all their powers. They became slaves trapped in the Demon Lord's castle. However, they were kept alive to make sure their sons grew up to be competent demons.
I'm sorry. Matthew gently shrugged, letting out a nostalgic smile grace his lips.
She taught me how to be a demon, though. Not just a demon, a grown, adult demon. I read books, I learned strategy, everything that James was doing under the Demon Lord's watch. Only, I trained with just my mother. She wanted me to surprise the Demon Lord one last time, and maybe take the throne away from James.
Matthew then reached out into his pocket and took out a small mirror.
Here, I'll show you.
Matthew handed it to me and sent a wave of blue mist into it. It began to glow until it enveloped the room in a bright light. When the light had subsided, I was back in the main hall of the demon castle. I looked around, feeling unable to move, but I could practically see everything as clear as I had before. However, my focus gathered on Matthew, sitting on the throne as if it was his, and reading a book. For some reason, Matthew reminded me of James at that moment. He seemed engrossed in his reading each word and absorbing each meaning. Him on the throne surprisingly fit him. There was something about him.
This is an easy read.
A saddened cry, however, echoed through the hall, forcing Matthew to stop, close the book, and stand from the throne.
Mother?
I looked around, confused at the cry and where it was coming from. It seemed to just echo through the room without any source of direction. Matthew sighed and placed the book on the armrest of the throne before he cupped his hands together.
Fly and comfort her, will you?
Matthew opened up his hands. A small bird with blue and purple feathers perked up from the hiding place. Matthew smiled before releasing it into the air. I watched it as it flew off and glided through an open archway. The sound of its flapping wings faded into the air as it flew farther into the castle.
Come on.
I could tell that Matthew was holding his breath. He must have cared very deeply for his mother. It was incredibly sweet. At last the sound of crying stopped, making Matthew release a happy sigh.
There we go.
Matthew cracked his knuckles in approval and reached for his book. However, before he could even graze the cover with his fingers, the sound of pattering entered the room.
You, fourth son, away from the throne!
All right.
Ah, what am I going to do with you? You're a child.
Matthew glared at the servant as the servant quickly brushed the throne off, like there was dust all over it.
The next time I see you on the throne, I will inform the Demon Lord. Understand?
Yes.
The demon servant continued to brush over the throne before knocking the book from the armrest. Matthew froze as the servant quickly patted over it and picked it up.
What is this? A book? Why do you have it?
I was reading.
You read? You don't need to read. You're never going to need knowledge for anything, fourth son.
Saw Matthew's eye twitch, making me grimace. The servant sure had a mouth. It was annoying at the very least.
I'll just take this book and bring it to the heir himself to read. He's reading faster than the library can provide.
But that's...
Raistro's next area of study.
The servant began to walk away, ignoring Matthew's glare of anger. The servant stopped, however, to look at Matthew to pound one more nail into the wound.
Let's face it, kid. You have the smallest horns, the smallest frame, and the least amount of power among the noble sons. You'll never be like them, so just stop trying. Use your incubus powers on others who have a child fetish or something.
Oh. The demon looked at Matthew up and down before rushing off wherever he came from. As the servant disappeared, Matthew summoned a knife and chucked it in the direction where the servant left. The knife embedded itself into the hard stone beside the door into the hall.
Ugh, I hate that guy. Disgusting pig fawn.
Matthew walked over and sat on the foot of the throne, clearly aggravated. Ooh, excuse me. Eventually, Matthew stopped the magic, lowering the mirror and holding it in his hands before looking to me.
I had hoped to show you my mother, but I guess the mirror wanted to show you something else. Sorry.
That servant is terrible.
Tell me about it. He served the Demon Lord almost his whole life. Ugly pig fawn.
Matthew laughed while I laughed at the insult. It was good to see Matthew in good spirits, despite what was shown and what was happening around us. Still, it was sad to see that he was considered the child of the noble sons. He could read books of knowledge that his brother hadn't read, and he seemed caring. It was insulting to see someone tear him down like that. Matthew smiled at me before pocketing the mirror.
Whatever. Thankfully, we got out of there, so I could be with my brothers like a normal family. No hierarchies, no politics, no pig funds, nothing.
I smiled. It was good that he saw the positive side. However, his face slowly turned to a sad one before he looked down at the bed. Matthew?
You've done a lot for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here. It may not seem like much, but for us it's everything. But I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
I watched in speechless silence as Matthew lifted his head, his eyes full of almost hopelessness.
That's why I'm sorry.
Matthew lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Matthew let out a small sigh before looking to me with a new smile. He hid his sadness well, but I could tell he was still upset about the whole ordeal.
Alright. You need to sleep and I need to make dinner. I'll wake you up when dinner is done.
Matthew gently pressed me back down onto the bed, resolved in what had happened. I'ma kiss you! I'ma frickin' kiss you! I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Matthew down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, laying a soft hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Matthew stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at this simple gesture. Yowza. He let out a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed quickly and left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she would have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd taken away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't gonna lose to that demon bitch.
Leave me alone.
Uh-oh. My heart stopped. Diana was with Matthew. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana trying to seduce Matthew in my head to further fan the angry flame inside of me. Instinctively, I followed Matthew's voice. I was approaching the grand lobby and followed the commotion to the dining room. The sound was echoing from the kitchen, so I peeked inside while hiding around the corner. I almost growled at the sight. Matthew was holding on to one side of the kitchen island counter with Diana holding the other side, looking to him with a smirk.
Oh, come on, Matthew. Don't you like games? A game of tag sounds so fun.
Not with you. Now go away.
I'm hurt. Wounded, truly. Did I go too far?
You went too far when you came here and attacked her.
Pity. And here I thought I was going to offer you the chance to become something better than just a simple incubus.
What was Diana going on about? More than just an incubus? She was insane.
How about becoming the next demon lord?
I froze. What did she mean? Become the next demon lord? The boys weren't in the demon world anymore. They had no claim to the throne anymore. Matthew stared at Diana, which made me worry.
The next demon lord?
Well, currently, I'm the contracted bride to the heir to the throne. Since the throne is open, it's available to any son of the demon lord's line. Think about it. You'll gain the throne, the land, and a bride to continue your lineage with. Doesn't that sound like a perfect life for an incubus like you? You'll show your father and mother how grown up you are. That you're not just some little cute boy people can take for granted.
I could feel myself gripping my fists tightly in anger. How dare this girl try to convince Matthew to return to the demon world? He ran away from it. He didn't have to go back. He shouldn't go back. My mind began to wander, imagining him saying yes. He would leave and the brothers would follow to bring him back. They'd be trapped because Diana would make sure they could never leave. Matthew would be the new demon lord with Diana as his queen, and I'd lose him.
Like I would believe you.
You don't need to believe me, Matthew. You just need to come back home with me. I promise, you'll be respected as you were supposed to be.
I'm not falling for it.
Fall for what? The truth? The truth is that your brothers still treat you like a child, even though the demon world is far behind you. The truth is that your little human love affair is fleeting. She can never see you as a man, just as a little boy who wants to grow up.
Stop it!
I stared as Matthew chuckled. I'm going to assume that was supposed to say chucked. Chucked a handful of knives at Diana, who ducked and dodged them with ease. They dug themselves into the tile wall before fading away as if they didn't exist.
You dare attack me?
I'm not going back. And that is final!
I could see Matthew's muscles tense and flex, wanting to attack Diana. The girl in question, however, took a deep breath and looked to Matthew with a pleading look.
You won't even return to your mother? She's been crying ever since you left.
Do not bring her into this!
Matthew glared as Diana circled the island towards him.
She begged me to bring you back. She wants you to get what you deserve. The throne.
I don't believe you!
Matthew then walked away from Diana, heading to the fridge to start dinner, as if she wasn't there. Diana stopped and leaned against the counter.
She'll never love you, you know.
I don't mind. I care for her.
The human girl? You must be joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need. She's a human. You're a demon.
I felt the urge to storm in and shut her mouth. It would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. I am going to barge in and set that bitch straight. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, rushing to be in front of Matthew. Diana and Matthew looked at me in surprise as I glared daggers at Diana. Get out!
Well, well, little human. You're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me.
Does it? I don't think a human would understand the importance of this affair.
You're asking him to leave to be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not gonna happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
I love him. Diana stared in shock as my exclamation. Was it not what she expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I had grown to love.
You love him?
Yes, I love him. Diana's lips twitched, the edges curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation. A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
To both of our surprise, however, Matthew stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
Oh, fuck you! I saw the confidence Diana had shatter in her eyes as she stared at Matthew at his words. Hello. Come here. Look, I have a kitten. Mwah. Say no, mama. Mwah. No. Let me hold you. I just want kisses. Fine. Kitties. I could see the struggle in her face to try and find some weakness in Matthew, in me, anything.
A demon love a human? Impossible.
You heard me. I love her, Diana. I'd do anything for her. And she cares for me more than anyone in the abyssal plane ever had. More than you'll ever know. She makes me feel like the adult I'm supposed to be. And there's nothing you can do to change that. Ever.
Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of Matthew's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. But I should really end this episode off here because God knows how long it's been. Like 25 minutes. I mean 21. Alright. Oh my god, Artemis! Your fur is everywhere! You're lucky Mama loves you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like or subscribe. Share with your friends if you like, putting bitches in their place. Alright. Bye-bye. Yeah, we put that bitch in her place. Yeah.